Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I have an impassioned plea for you. Learn to wet shave. Your life will be way better. So what do I mean by wet shaving? Well, all of you are probably familiar with these kinds of razors. Whether they're marketed for men or women, whatever, these multi-bladed affairs with these tiny little blades, some little strip that claims to not tear your skin to crap, etc. And they all have a couple of things in common. They've got multiple little blades in here, usually. You can get single-sided ones. They are entirely disposable with big chunks of plastic everywhere. They're crazy articulated, like that makes a freaking difference. And most of all, they are expensive. There is no way to buy these little heads without, giving Gillette $1 million or something like that. I mean, seriously, these big ones with, the 5, 6, 7, 8 blades, however many they're up to at this point, they are to the point where it's like $250 a cartridge, and those cartridges last you 2 or 3 shaves. That is not the right way to shave. Seriously, guys, it's not the case that this is a better solution. It's the case that they can charge you more for it, so they're better off. The company is better off. Like, Gillette loves you to use these guys, but you shouldn't be. Instead, what you should be using is a classic razor technique. Humanity has been using razors for many, many centuries, probably millennia. As soon as some jackass figured out how to sharpen a rock, probably shaved with it or something like that. I don't know. I'm not an expert on ancient jackasses. But nonetheless, humans have solved the problem of shaving for many, many years. They've done things like a straight razor. Straight razors are great. I love straight razors. I enjoy them. That's actually how I got into sharpening anything at all. But practically speaking, for most people, they're a little bit slow. They require a lot of care, and they require a lot of maintenance. So I don't necessarily recommend everyone goes to a straight razor. Instead, what you should be using, rather than something like this, or rather than an electric razor, which just generally does a really poor job for a lot of money, is one of these guys. This is a double-edged safety razor, and there are many different options. The Mercure Futur, not necessarily the one I'd recommend. Probably the best starter razor out there is this guy. This is the Mercure 23C. This is the long handle edition. You can get short. But this guy is like $30. This is a vintage Gillette Aristocrat, that is. This is my personal razor of choice these days. But what you're using here is a safety razor, meaning that you use a blade, a safety razor blade. Here, I'll show you what one of those guys looks like here. Pop this open, you can see, yeah, and sorry, I've been shaving with this guy, but as you can see, a little bit of corrosions and whatnot in there. But basically, it's a little tiny razor blade that you can use to shave, and that little razor blade is exposed just a little tiny bit on the side of the razor here, and that's enough to cut the stubble off of your freaking face. And that's how you shave. You just drag this at a very specific angle along the side of your face and remove the stubble with it. The beautiful things about wet shaving are manifold, but probably the best thing about it is the quality of the shave. Usually, you will want to shave in one pass, one direction, usually with the grain, and then you might do a second pass if you're really looking to be super smooth, but you are going to get just a beautifully close shave with a single pass. The other thing that's going to be beautiful about it, and the thing that I hate most when I go back to using one of these guys, because the TSA isn't okay with these because they're scared of everything, is that these guys will pull hairs out. As you're using this, you kind of feel like a grab feeling, whereas these guys just cleanly slice. The blade is sharp enough that it doesn't need to pull. It doesn't need to extract. All it needs to do is slice. And so it feels so incredibly smooth. Even with really thick hair like mine, if you're using a very sharp blade, that's absolutely great. The next most beautiful thing about wet shaving, and maybe the reason that I think everyone should do it, even if they're not like, oh my God, obsessed with how good their shave quality is that it is really freaking cheap. So this is a pack of feather blades. I forget exactly how many are in here, but it's probably, I want to say 5 or 10 or something like that. But the simple fact is that I could right now on Amazon.com order a pack of 100 blades of these for $25. That means it's about 25 cents a blade, and you can do better if you look for deals elsewhere. 25 cents a blade is really, really freaking cheap, and especially given the fact that one of these blades can, at least for me, go 2 or 3 weeks, shaving every couple of days. That is absolutely incredible. Compare this to like your Mach 12, which I just looked up yesterday, or was it Mach 5 or something like that, whatever number they're up to now. Those run like $250 a head, and they'll shave like 2 or 3 times at best before they're just pulling hairs out. you are going to save an insane amount of money by going this route. So those are kind of the biggest advantages here, is that when you go to a double-edged safety razor, the blades are really obscenely expensive. Inexpensive, as opposed to really obscenely expensive, and you just get a better quality shave with fewer ingrown hairs, because as it's pulling those hairs out to cut them, they're going to snap back inside to the skin, and then you're going to get ingrown hair because the hair isn't right at skin level. Instead, the hair is, that's probably obscene in some language or another, but anyways, the hair is right on the surface there, so it'll just keep growing out rather than trying to grow sideways, or, grow down to my leg or whatever it is ingrown hairs enjoy doing. So those are big advantages. It's the better shave and the better cheapness. But the other thing is, honestly, it's a nice process. Depending on how you do it, you can take many, many different degrees of fanciness. I right now have 2 other accessories of wet shaving that are very, very helpful. This is a brush. I happen to pick this guy up from Crabtree and Evelyn, which is a luxury soap retailer. They make really good stuff for wet shaving, by the way. Or at least they used to. I haven't been there in a while. But you can use a shaving brush, you can use a warm mug, and use some kind of a shaving soap, because this isn't like a cream in the sense, it's like a soap that you just squeeze in there, and then you can use the brush to kind of whip it up into a lather, and then apply it to your face. You've seen this in old movies, new movies probably, but that's a really luxurious way to do it, and especially with a warm lather, you will get an incredibly close shave. But practically speaking, with a good sharp razor, you can really cut corners. I mean, you can also do things like this, which is a dry shave soap that you can put in there. You can do things like just applying a little bit of this to your face, kind of making a little bit of a suds on your face with some wet water as opposed to dry water. Don't use dry water, people, because then it's dry shaving, and ow. And then you can just shave, and practically speaking, that'll do most of the job very, very quickly. I mean, people always talk about, going fancy about it, like, oh, I bought these, fancy shave soaps from online, oh my God, it was incredible, etc. You can go all fancy about it, but you don't need to. Don't feel that need. I mean, start off by learning to do it right, but then you can start to cut corners and shave very quickly. Practically speaking, I can wet shave in like a minute and a half or something like that here at home. No problem. So don't feel like this needs to be a long, drawn-out experience unless you want it to be. You don't have to go zen. And actually buying the materials isn't hard. Look for companies like Pro Rosso. It's a really nice, good starter company for shaving soap. Crabtree Evelyn does good stuff. This C.O. Bigelow is actually just Pro Rosso. You can see, I think they say, here, made in Italy for C.O. Bigelow. This is, or at least at one point in time, made by Pro Rosso, was sold at, not Bed Bath & Beyond, Bath & Body Works, I think. So you can get this, and it's great shaving soap. I love this stuff. I use it on a regular basis. But you can get these shaving soaps pretty much anywhere. One thing to keep in mind is that your conventional shaving cream in a can generally isn't very good. It's not lubricated enough. It's just kind of foamy, but it doesn't have any, I don't want to say oiliness to it, but it doesn't glide well. So you want to, look into some other soaps from what you've been using, and if you're getting bad results using, but you can do that in a pinch. Again, once you get the skill there, that's important. The biggest downside to going this route, and I don't really think it's a downside, is that you do need to learn a little bit of skill. Because there is a very specific angle. If I just drag this horizontally along my face, actually I'm going to use one that has no blade in it, just because that'll be a little safer. If I just drag this horizontally along my face, it will do nothing. If I drag it completely like this along my face, it will do nothing. In fact, there is a very specific angle that you have to be at in order for this to shave effectively. And so you kind of have to learn your own face. You need to learn to map those contours and to keep that proper angle as you're shaving there. That's something that it took me probably a week to get really good at. And you will probably cut yourself very lightly or potentially a little bit more so the first couple of times you do it. The other thing you need to remember is that you cannot ever move side to side. If you do a movement like this, you are just going to create a cut down the side of your face. Always need to be going this direction or this direction, but never sliding side to side. But there's a little bit of a learning curve, but it's honestly not bad. The other nice thing, and I'm kind of a little disorganized here, but this is more a rant from passion than anything, is that there are many different brands of blades. I'm showing off Feather blades here. Feathers are my choice absolutely 100%. They are incredibly obscenely sharp. They are sharper than any other blade I've tried. Frankly, they are borderline scary, and the first day I switched to Feather, I absolutely cut myself. But the thing is, I have relatively thick hair, and Feather just goes through it like a freaking razor. Well, it is quite literally a razor. But nonetheless, you know what I'm after here. But there are other brands as well. I mean, Gillette still sells these double-edged blades. Wilkinson, Derby, Astra. I mean, and there are all kinds of forums. There's Badger and Blade. The Reddit has... I think it's Wicked Edges, then it's not the sharpener. But they have a whole forum dedicated to that. And there are people who will do like sampler packs where you get 5 blades from 15 different brands so you can figure out what you like best. I did that. I found out, oh my God, I love feathers. So then I just bought a bazillion feather blades and I'm set for the next 20 years or something. Well, that's not true. Probably the next 2 or 3, and then I'll buy a bazillion more. But nonetheless, you have that option as well, so you can customize. And there are many different razors. This is a vintage one literally from World War II. Immediately post World War II. But it still works beautifully. This is the Merkur 23C. It's like $30. And for $55, by the way, you could buy this and a pack of blades and be done buying shaving supplies for a year or 2. I mean, how awesome is that? You can buy these brushes online. One thing I'll caution you about, and I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit here. The Art of Shaving is a store. They rip you off. You can go there, you can see all the various things, but they will charge you way more money than anybody else. So if there's one of those near you, feel free to go in there, looky-loo. And actually, their shaving products aren't bad, but they are just really expensive. So you probably don't want to buy your first razor from the Art of Shaving. Just go online. You can get them much better from a lot of specialty retailers, as well as from places like Amazon even. So anyways, wet shave. Seriously, do it. Absolutely 100%. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you're shaving. If you're manscaping, wet shave. If you're ladyscaping, wet shave. Lots of women love using, it's a much better approach for your legs. You get fewer ingrown hairs, etc. You can shave anything. You can shave your head with freaking wet shaving. Wet shaving is just a magnificent thing, and you need to be freaking doing it. Because otherwise, you're throwing money away for a shave that is way, way, way worse than you could be getting way, way, way cheaper. So there you go. I hope this has been interesting. Seriously, do it. You have no excuse. Just freaking do it. Get a double edge and call it a freaking day. I got some reviews coming up of a couple of these double edges coming up soon. I'll just say coming up again because I've said it 50 times there. But in the meantime, like I said, Merkur 23C is a really great place to start off, and then just take it from there. You're on a journey, enjoy the journey, and enjoy the good shaves. Have a good one, everybody. Bye now.